Welcome to the Unconventional Ministry Podcast, where the conversation is about fresh ministry ideas and innovative ministry approaches. I'm Dennis Weens, your host, Senior Impact Catalyst at Sat7 USA. Traditional methods of missions and missionary information in the local church often rely on prayer letters, construction paper, flannel boards, or static bulletin boards in the back of churches to share missions information. Most churches I visit financially support a global ministry, sending out Christian workers around the world. I hope your church has a vibrant missions program. A challenge is for those supported church personnel around the world communicating regularly to their supporting churches. It is a real challenge. We've been there and know firsthand the challenge as we've written prayer letters to churches for 46 years. Today we're discussing innovative approaches to connecting church members with their global church ministry partners. My guest is Paul Douglas from Digital Missions Display, a provider of interactive touchscreen church missionary displays. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dennis, for having us. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, this is something that's, when you reached out to me, really struck me because we've written prayer letters our whole life. And of course, I'm second generation. So my folks spent their career writing missionary prayer letters as well. And you were telling me that you're an engineer type and you're a volunteer in your local church. Want to say thank you for what you do to volunteer in the local church. Every church needs its volunteers. And the pastor came and asked you to help him bring innovation to the missionary display board, the static display board, probably in the back of your church. Take us back to that conversation where this whole idea of missionary displays came from.
Yes, sir. Our pastor, Adam Summers of Faith Baptist Church in Chelsea, brought to the congregation's attention that he had seen some type of interactive display at another church, and we're a pretty conservative independent Baptist church and not real keen on like blasting out technology, but he thought that there was a need for connecting members to missionaries better than, like you mentioned, just a paper and flanogram board in the back of the church. He wanted something up front and noticeable. When you walked in the church, you saw that we were supporters. God's heart is missions, and so he wanted folks to know that we support missions. So he just just from the pulpit said, "Hey, anybody has seen this, or anybody that has the knowledge to create it, I'm all ears." I personally didn't have any knowledge in like a mission display, like a digital mission display, but I did about 3 months of research and came up with a solution.
And the solution you came up with is a digital missions display, like a digital prayer letter and digital prayer card. We'll give the website so people can go look at your videos and some of the different things that you've done. Explain how this works to have this 65-inch display on the wall of the church and people can walk by. You're telling me that it has QR codes and all this high-tech stuff in it. It's pretty amazing. So just explain a little bit how this display works.
So the display is always in motion. So it's, like you said, a 65-inch touch screen. There's two maps. So there's a topographical and then there's a basic continent map. Individuals can come up to the map. They can touch a continent, or they can touch a flag or a marker of the name of the missionary that they know or don't know, and that opens up another window for the missionary page. And on the missionary page, as you mentioned, is a digital prayer card. But the great thing about the digital prayer card is that it's interactive. So you can watch a video or multiple videos. You can view the prayer card, prayer letters, all of their phone numbers, their email address, their website, any link to the internet. And each one of those links, the software automatically generates a QR code that can be scanned by a personal device. So instead of you trying to send an email from the mission display and people watching you send an email to your favorite missionary or donating to your favorite missionary, you have that access instantly from a handheld device.
So they have it on their device. It's in the history of their device. So when they get home, it's easy access, and they can pick up the conversation, keep that conversation going. This sounds really innovative, unconventional. How have churches that you've been communicating with, are they receptive to this idea of digital prayer letters, digital prayer cards, monitors like this, high tech?
Actually, surprisingly, they are, because they understand the need, and they understand the the burden of trying to create an engaging situation when it comes to missionary letters. So instead of having just a piece of paper on the wall that has to get switched out, I've been I've been to so many churches across the country installing the mission display over the years that I've seen everything. I've seen every type of different way of presenting mission letters, and things hanging on the wall and swinging things, and everything you can think of. But when we present the digital missions display and we show them how compact, and there's no wires hanging, and it's just a clean, simple, not over the top world map, and you walk up to it and you start to interact with it, they're just overwhelmingly pleased. They see quite a bit more interaction before meetings with deacons. That they have an opportunity to go to the mission display, and they can look up what's happening before they go into meetings, instead of just hearing the mission display letters on a Wednesday night. For our church, we do Wednesday night readings. That isn't enough to be able to engage and see the progress of the mission, and it just takes things to another level. The one of the things that we like to encourage is for missionaries to send more than just a prayer letter. So if they can send a personalized, short 15-second video that says, "Hey, Faith Baptist Church, thank you for your support," we can embed that into the mission display. And the great thing about the software is that it was designed from the ground up for missions, and with missions in mind, with a little bit of turnover in missions inside the church, and people managing missions boards and whatnot. We see that we had to make a software that was easy to transfer to other people. So we made it simple enough so that if the church secretary or the highest tech savvy person in the church can use it.
And also, a question that comes to mind is the whole question of security, because a lot of these church personnel are in places where they maybe don't want the open internet to have access to this display on a church wall. So you've thought about the security aspect.
Yes, so the software development team has thought about the security level. And so for one big way of locking down the data from, number one, it's not on the internet. So none of your missionary data is on the internet. It's secure on Microsoft Azure, and each version of the software is its own instance. So we don't send out a disk with or a file with this software on it. Each time that the software is loaded onto a computer, it's its own instance. It can be customized. It can be managed remotely through Microsoft Azure, but through encryption. And we also tie down the database, the missionary database, to an IP address. So whatever the IP address is, your church has an IP on the internet. It is internet based, but it's not internet accessible without passwords and usernames and things like that. We can lock that database down with an IP address. So if the computer is stolen or it's used for something outside the church IP address, that database cannot be accessed.
Very good. And as I'm thinking about this, it's designed for the church supported personnel around the world. But say the church is doing a special event, can they repurpose this display to run announcements or videos, or are there features to this?
Yeah. So the software has included in it, it has a screensaver. So it has a video screensaver, it has an image screensaver, and it has a missionary screensaver. And one of the great features is if you say a church is just showcasing 5 of their 35 missionaries. You can set the mission display up to only have those missionaries on the screensaver, or you can have all of them on the screensaver. You can also do an image overlay. So the device will support having an entire overlay of the map if you wanted to have announcements, or if you had events coming up. You could use the image screensaver for those, or you could do a complete overlay. And then when somebody touches the display, the overlay goes away and you are back onto the map. One of the other features is that it has logos, places for logos or announcements at the top and bottom of the map display. So the software has gone through 5 iterations. It has been modified and updated and changed based on the desires and the input from churches. So we believe that we're to the point where even the most hardened missionary pastor is going to be pleased with what we've done.
Sounds very exciting. And just your perspective, this is digital technology. It's the future revolutionizing communication between church and its personnel around the world. How do you see this digital mission display playing a role moving forward in the local church?
Well, I believe with our plan for the future, with other interactions and with communication services like video, live video, I think that pastors and churches are going to be extremely happy with. So it's a subscription base, and that subscription helps us build more and more onto the platform, onto the application. So ultimately, what we'd like it to be is a way that we can have the congregation, the members of the church, communicate with the missionary. Like you mentioned, for 36 years, there's a pattern. There's a lifelong service that a lot of missionaries serve. And we want to be able to connect members to their families and the kids to the missionary families, and have games and have different types of tools inside of the mission display. So for us, in my opinion, if we miss this opportunity to have a technology like touchscreen in the church, we're going to miss another opportunity to get another wave of missionaries on board and out to share the gospel and to fulfill the Great Commission. So having a digital missions display in your church is going to inspire, encourage younger folks to see what's going on in the mission field and be encouraged by that and go and share the gospel to all nations.
I'm pretty excited about that feature with the QR code, and somebody can walk by and get a QR code, and it's in their phone, and they, texting the missionary or the personnel and in real time, and that's pretty exciting. So I'm sure that we have some podcast listeners that are already wanting to forward this to their pastors. So I encourage you, if you're listening, forward this to your missions team, your global outreach team, your pastors, forward this podcast to them. Paul, let us know how people can get more information. I've watched some of your videos. They're very good. Where's the website, and what's the best way for people to contact you?
So the website is missiondisplay.org, and you can contact me by phone, email, or text. My phone number is 810-618-4011, and you can contact me by email, paul@missiondisplay.org. I did want to mention that with the QR codes, the way that we have it set up, and folks are going to wonder, do I just take a picture of the QR code? How does that work? When on a phone or on a handheld device, when you scan a QR code, you're prompted to either open up a web browser or your phone dialer or your text app. The way that we have the QR code set up, it will open up your browser, your SMS text, or your phone dialer automatically. So you won't have to take a picture of the QR code. What it does is it actually opens up the service right on your phone. So yes, that will be something that will be on your phone for as long as you want it there.
Very, very cool. And is it just one model, or do you have multiple different models developed? If a church has a small wall space or they have large wall spaces, is there one model, multiple models? We haven't talked about that yet.
Right. So that's a great question. So our intention is to get the software into churches. get a trial going and see if they like it. So the software is actually free. You can download that at missiondisplay.org under the resources tab, and you can use that for free for up to 3 missionaries per region or per continent. Once you get used to the software, and we know most people love it and they want to subscribe for the $20 a month, then you have unlimited missionaries. So we have a 55-inch and a 65-inch and a 75-inch display setup. However, if you only want the software, we can do that. If you need the software and the equipment, we can do that. If you need the software, equipment, and somebody to curate the mission display, you need somebody to handle the data, we can do that also. But we always encourage, when you do purchase the software, that you purchase a computer that meets the specifications of the software, because it is very robust. And with running videos, you don't want the software to run slow. You want it to be interactive and run well.
Well, Paul, this is fascinating and innovative. It's going to change the life of so many people around the world, communicating back to their supporting churches. And I'm really excited about this. Give your website again. Make sure people have that. We'll also put it in the notes for this episode. So give your website again.
It's missiondisplay.org, and my email is paul@missiondisplay.org. I did want to add one more technology and unconventional ministry item, is that on our website at missiondisplay.org, we've created a language model that takes all of the data from the website and puts it into a chat. So if you have any questions about the mission display, any unique questions, that is inside of that chat. So you can ask it any question you want to, and it'll get the data from the website and fill you in on the answers.
Very good. And Paul, thank you for joining the Unconventional Ministry Podcast.
Thank you for having us.
This is the Unconventional Ministry Podcast. If you've enjoyed this conversation, please share it with your friends and leave a comment. Sat7 is a Middle East and North Africa broadcast media ministry making God's love visible and the gospel available to everyone in the Middle East and North Africa. Sat7 USA has resources in helping you honor God while protecting your family. You can avoid another regret, which is the failure of not creating an estate plan. Through a partnership with Financial Planning Ministry, Sat7 USA provides Christian experts to assist you in preparing your will or trust, all at no financial cost to you. Visit www.sat7usa.org and click on the tab Planned Giving for more information. Sat7 simplifies the process and makes it easy for you so that your family and friends don't have to bear the burden and regret of your failure to create an estate plan. Thank you again for joining this episode of the Unconventional Ministry Podcast.